When it comes to narrative style, the show is not a linear progression following the exploits of our hero. Instead, Fate Zero is more of a story following many characters, using multi-layered, sometimes intertwining plot threads, each of which progresses at a contextually effective pace. Not every character is as complex as someone like Griffith from Berserk or Johann Liebert from Monster. Fate Zero has dialogue, action, corrupt ideologies, internal struggles, and more. One of the brilliant strengths of Fate Zero is its ability to set and convey a mood or atmosphere through the use of visual imagery, dialogue, and music. Tone setting is present in many little scenes throughout the first season. One of my favorite lines of dialogue in the entire series is at the end of episode 3.
Does Kiritsugu not enjoy the time he spends with you?
When he's happy, for some reason, it seems to cause him pain.
It's a subtle little line that says so much. It's got such a tragic subtext to it that it had me both feeling a foreboding atmosphere, blanketing every scene, and paying close attention to Kiritsugu from that point on. It's a grim, gritty, tragic tale about the pointlessness of war. For me, the most important aspect of an anime, or any work of fiction, is its story. Animation and music are important, but without a decent story, they're not enough to hold the show up on their own. But without interesting or well-developed characters, the audience will have trouble getting invested. Each master-servant pair has a different and interesting relationship. Humanity shows its true nature when someone's back is against the wall. And what did Kanan do when his back was against the wall? He turned away from the glory, power, and prestige of the Holy Grail to protect the person he cared about. Season 1 is all about the character moments, and the reason why nobody dies that quickly is so that the show can maintain its dramatic tension. It's never fun to watch a character go through the hell that Karya had to endure, but I think the reason his character arc resonates with me so much is because he didn't deserve it. What can be said about the mascot for the Fate series and one of the best characters in this show? Well, quite a lot actually. I love Saber. There are two ways to look at a selfless king like Saber. One way is to look at it in a positive light. The second way of looking at Saber's rule is the more realistic and cynical way, and Saber's despair at the show's end shows that she now knows her mistakes and has no means to rectify them. Ryder is the man. A man who laughs the loudest and rages the hardest. There's no subtlety to him, and I love it. The way his ideology of what a true king should be clash with Saber's, I love how the show does favor one philosophy over the other. Waver, in essence, is a very simple but well-crafted character. He's just a struggling novice mage. Through Ryder's help and praise, he becomes able to recognize his own strengths. The Waver-Ryder dynamic is so important to the show's thematic and tonal balance. I firmly believe that without Waver and Ryder, Fate Zero just would have been too grim and too depressing of a show. Kirei Kotomine and Kiritsugu Emiya both have a cold and emotionless demeanor, but they're almost exact opposites of each other in terms of the motivations behind their behavior. Kirei Kotomine is a man that has been looking for purpose his entire life and been unable to find it. And that's about it when it comes to Kirei. Kiritsugu Emiya. This man is one of my favorite characters ever. He slowly builds up a philosophy that he builds his life around. A philosophy that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. He thinks this philosophy will save the world. Kiritsugu hates himself. I say he's a walking contradiction because it's true. He hates evil, yet he does evil. We learn that the Grail is tainted, and can only grant a wish by means that the wisher comprehends, and most of Kiritsugu's life was pointless, and it's impossible to stop conflict. Kirei loves destruction, Kiritsugu is sickened by it. Kirei was searching for a purpose his whole life, Kiritsugu always had one, and is a huge reason that Fate Zero is as deep as it is. The prevalence of honor in a ruthless war is a huge part of both Saber and Lancer's character arcs. Now I'll talk about some of the problems that Fate Zero has because it's definitely flawed. It's terrible